You need to stop trying to surrender. If you haven't noticed by now, it hasn't been working. Otherwise, you wouldn't have clicked on this video. There's no benefit to trying to surrender. Why do you think people say that? Why do you think people talk about surrendering? They talk about surrendering always in the context that they want you to understand something, right? Like, think about it. Why talk about anything if you don't want someone to understand what it is you're talking about? It makes no sense, right? So whenever someone is talking about surrender or talking about anything to do with letting go or whatever you want to do, they want you to understand something. Now, the question is, what are you not understanding about what they're saying that keeps making you having to confuse yourself over trying to let go and trying to surrender? What is that misunderstanding that clearly is happening that makes you keep wanting to go through that process? It's the fact that you're not understanding it. That's the key. So the thing to understand is that accepting, surrendering, letting go, they're not things that you can possibly do, obviously, and you know that. The question is, what can you do then? What you can do is you can understand. You can seek to understand. Now, this is something that most people don't even realize is a possibility, because understanding, isn't that just the mind? Why am I trying to do something with the mind? No, the mind, it's like a calculator, right? A calculator can compute a calculation, but it doesn't know what calculation it is. The calculator doesn't know what is on it. The computer doesn't know what's on the screen. The calculator doesn't know what it's calculated. You see, we know what is calculated. So the mind is like a calculator. We understand. And what are we? Pure consciousness, pure God. God understands. So that which understands in your experience, that which is understanding these words now, that's reality understanding itself. So the thing to see is, what can you do instead of trying to keep letting go and surrender? Just seek to understand. Understanding, acceptance and surrender is the consequence of understanding. So when you prioritize understanding, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to care about whether you let go or not anymore, because that will be the consequence of understanding. So when you're prioritizing trying to let go, it's like you're basically like trying to get a six-pack by like thinking about it and trying to get a six-pack. That's what letting go is like when you try to do it. So like, think about like imagine you're training to go to the gym. You're training to get really, really shredded. And instead of going to the gym, which is like the path of understanding, you just sit there in your chair going, trying to get a six-pack. That's what you're doing when you're trying to let go or trying to understand. You can't intention your six-pack into existence. You have to express an understanding. An understanding has to be had prior to the surrendering or the letting go, in the same way that eating healthy and working out is what has to be had before you get the six-pack, right? So in the same way, prioritize understanding. If you want to lose weight and get a six-pack, you prioritize everything other than the six-pack. You prioritize the actual things you do. Now, in this way, some people are thinking, but you can't do something. You just said not to do something. Why are you comparing it to such a seeming materialistic like thing? Well, the thing is that you're still operating in that mode. Like, regardless of what I say, you're still operating in that mode that wants to do things. So I'm talking to that one, the part of you that still has this niggling feeling like, I want to do something, there has to be something to do. I'm saying, yes, there is something you can do. Seek to understand. Seek understanding, the path of understanding. This is what Atmananda Krishna Menon says. If you don't know who that is, you need to know who that is like right now. You need to know who that was yesterday. Put a link to his books in the description. Atmananda Krishna Menon says, the understanding the significance of happiness is more important than the experience of happiness itself. So basically, understanding the significance of awakening or the significance of liberation is more important than the liberation or the experience or the happiness itself. What does he mean? Why would that be? Shouldn't the understanding be part of the mind? Shouldn't the experience be the priority? Because that's what we want at the end of the day? No. Because clearly the experience of any awakening, there's probably a lot of people watching this right now. who've had some form of awakening experience in their life. And if you haven't, you've definitely had an experience of happiness in your life. So either one is the same. If the experience of awakening or the experience of happiness could give you any form of actual grounded embodiment, everybody on earth would be happy as a Larry. They would all be unconditionally happy, but they're not. Why is that? Because the experience of happiness is not important. Because without understanding its significance, happiness will always be conditional. And if happiness is conditional, guess what's going to happen? Your happiness is going to be fleeting. It's going to be basically the most fragile thing. It's going to be more fragile than the top of a baby's head when it's like got even no skull. It's going to be completely fleeting. And this is the issue. What we're trying to understand is unconditional happiness. We're not trying to actually get to a certain state. We're trying to understand the truth. So in seeking the truth, as that wise man from Nazareth once said, what did he say there? Seek the truth and the truth will set you free. He didn't say, let go and everything will be fine. He said, search for the truth and the truth will set you free. Why did he say that? Why didn't he say everybody needs to surrender? Everybody needs to let go. Why didn't he say that? Because understanding the significance of happiness is what creates unconditional happiness, which is why Atmananda Krishna Menon says that understanding the significance of happiness is more important than the happiness itself, because that's what makes it unconditional. So stop trying to let go. It's not doing anything for you. Seek the path of understanding. The path of understanding is devotion to truth. Devotion to truth is happiness itself. Try and find me one person devoted to truth who's not happy. You won't find one unless that person is not actually devoted to truth. They'll be devoted to something they think is true. Like, I'm devoted to truth for the sake of removing my suffering. That's not devotion to truth. You're actually secretly using truth as a scapegoat to end your suffering. That's always going to bring you more suffering. So seek the path of understanding. That is what is actually going to create unconditional happiness. I have a community where I guide you through this entire process every single week. And it's full of, I'm actually extremely surprised about the people actually in this community are amazing. So we're like a little family now. I can't preach this enough. And I am a little preacher right now. Preach, preach, preach. I preach my community because I fucking love it and I enjoy it and I do it every single day. So if you want to get on board with that and you like what I'm sharing here, links in the description. I'll see you soon. Take care, guys.